Welcome guys to the next episode of With the Right Group. Today's game is another deck builder. We're going to be dealing with Tom Cleaver's Valley of the Kings. I have the game out here with its first expansion, which is Afterlife. There is another expansion out for it called Last Rites, but I don't have that just yet. The cards in the sets in front of us are for the original game. It doesn't play any differently. The expansion just adds extra players and extra ways to play, extra modes. You are a pharaoh and you are trying to show that you are the greatest pharaoh in all of Egypt. And obviously, when how they showed that they were the greatest pharaoh and the greatest leader is by having the most wonderful things and their people buried with them in their tomb, which is great. And that comes in with the theme of the game. I always talk about theme and how it fits in with the game, and I can say that it might not feel like I'm a pharaoh while I'm playing this game, but I love how the theme matches the mechanics. So let's just quickly get into how does this game play. Plays like a normal deck builder. We don't have action by cleanup. What we have here is cards that have multiple uses. So if we look here, everybody starts with 10 cards, just like a normal deck builder. And how the card is made up is we have the name of the card, we have the coinage that it gives. So this would be similar to a copper in Dominion. We have here a special power that you can use, and down here we have some flavor text that goes along with whatever the card is meant to represent and from the Egyptian culture. It's always fun to read. It kind of adds a little bit to the game. How the game plays is as per normal. You draw 5 cards. So you have your 5 cards in front of you. And now, this is where it's a little bit different. Before, you do all your actions, and then you do all your buys, and then you do your cleanup phase. In this, you have 3 different things that you can do with each card. You can use the cards as money. So here's 3. That would let me buy, let me just do this. Here's 4. And that would let me buy this card, because its cost is right here. I never showed that earlier. The cost is right here, it's 4. So I can buy it, put it here. Here's what's interesting. The pyramid crumbles. You can only buy cards from the bottom of the pyramid unless you have a special action, and you do not refill in anything here. Just from the bottom, buy it, it crumbles. You can buy multiple cards. But what's also interesting is you can also use the cards for actions. So I have a card left over, and it's the urn. Put the top card of your discard pile on top of your deck. It's a great way to get your new cards into your hand as quickly as possible. And I said there's 3 things you can do. The third thing you can do, and you probably want to do this right from the start, is if you get any cards in your hand, you can entomb them, which is just putting it here. So I'll show you that here. It's just simply doing this. Now how the entombing works is you get 1 free entombing per turn. There are also special actions on the card that let you do extra entombing during your turn. Why is this important? Because every card is worth a certain amount of victory points, and I'll explain how that happened, how they create victory points in a second. But to get the victory points, you need to entomb them. Because remember I was talking about the theme matching the mechanics. Well, the pharaohs showed their wealth and their power and just how great they were by what they buried along with them. So the only thing that you can show that and get the victory points is to entomb them. It's also a great way, not talking thematically, but just how, you know, how a deck builder works. It lets you clear your deck of the chaff. You can get rid of your starting cards so easily because you can get rid of one per turn. The next thing you would do is, that's your cleanup, is just put things here. Draw your next hand of 5, and then this is the stock, and just refill your pyramid. And it's as simple as that. You now have your 5 cards, your opponent goes, and then back and forward, until all the cards from the stock are gone, and all the cards from the pyramid are gone. One thing that's really interesting about the game is that the first half of the game, you've got 3 different kinds of card. You've got phase 1 cards, which are your starting cards. You've got phase 2 cards, which are the top half of the deck. And then you finally get to the phase 3 cards, which are more expensive to buy, but usually give you a little bit more gold and have the stronger actions. So there, 7 strong actions, and then 3. Entomb a card from your hand. So there's a way to get through your deck and get it entombed as quickly as possible. If at the end of your turn you've done nothing to the pyramid and it looks exactly the same as it did at the beginning, you can take any card from anywhere and put it in the boneyard. Again, crumble, and then you get a new card out, and then the next player would go. How the scoring works: the starter cards and these purple cards all have set victory points. These are worth 1 victory point. This card here, for example, is worth 3 victory points. There's some in there that are worth 5. Once they're in the tomb, that's them. They are worth whatever they're worth. Now, all other cards are set cards. And that's where it comes. This, again, another super interesting thing about this game, another really fun thing about this game, is that once you get the sets, if you have multiple cards from the same sets, so for the jars, for the canopic jars, there are 4 there, which means if you have 4 completely different jars in your tomb, you'll get 16 points. The points work similar to some of the cards in 7 Wonders, and it's also I can't remember the name of them, but the special scoring cards that you get in Stone Age. So it came before. Should have researched it. I'm an idiot. So but it's a really simple concept. If you happen to have 3, you have 2 the same, and but then 2 other that are different. So you've got 3 different, and then 1 that's the same as one of the ones that came before. That would be 10 points because you've got 3 in the set that come up to 9. Then you got 1 by itself, which is just 1 victory point. I hope I didn't overcomplicate a very simple scoring structure. But this is it. It is as simple as that. You take your turn by playing cards out of your hand. You do not need to buy first. You can buy first, last. You can do your actions, then you can buy, then you can do more actions. It's completely fine. But basically it's just a case of play cards from your hand, entomb cards, reset up the pyramid, draw 5 cards, and pass over to your opponent. Lather, rinse, repeat. There is so much going on in this game. There are cards that can attack. There are cards that just let you really quickly kill cards into the boneyard. There are cards that make your opponent have to sacrifice cards. There are cards where you can put one of your cards from your hand in your opponent's tomb and then draw 4 cards. It's a great way to just give them garbage. I had a friend, he loves drawing cards, and this is what he did. He would just give me all his starter cards. So he essentially gave me between 7 and 10 points during the game, just handed them to me. Why did he do that? Because he got to draw and he got to gain a lot more cards and buy a lot more cards because of it. Simple strategy, but there's so much depth to this game. The theme is, again, it's not like it's hugely thematic, but I love that the theme matches the mechanics. Makes it easier to explain. With the right group. Who's the right group for this? Now, I think this is, again, this is not for your heavy 18xx players, but your friends that enjoy deck builders are going to catch on to this really quickly. The only thing that's got to be a wrinkle to them, two things. One, the multi-use of the cards. Two, the entombing to get points. That's a newish concept for them. I don't think this is a great game to introduce to new players, but I will say that I have used this as an introduction to a couple of people who had never played a deck builder before. And so some of the concepts they picked up on easier just because their minds weren't stuck in, well, this is how a deck builder works. It's fine. But I will say that it's just, sometimes it can seem like one concept too many, because I had a couple of people that were new to the game that it put them off deck builders completely because it was just one too many concepts. This is great. It is definitely in my top 10 deck builders. And it's a very small box, very cheap game, but it packs enough punch. I can take this wherever I want. It's not exactly pocket size, but I'm a big boy. I've got big pockets. I can make it fit. So yeah, this is definitely an insta buy for anyone. As far as the expansions go, the expansion allow you to play 5 or 6 players. I don't think I want to do that. It seems to drag the game out a little bit more by just adding extra of the different colours into the deck. The other thing being with the expansion, you can mix and match the expansions and just say, take these sets out and put these sets in and just kind of mix and match. But again, I don't think I want to do that. When I've looked at it and when I've tried to make it work, it seems to me I'd rather just leave them as is and totally enjoy playing either just by itself. There's so much synergy across the groups, the different sets of cards. I'm more than happy to just play Valley of the Kings. I'm more than happy, if I want a little bit extra flavour, to play just Afterlife. And like I said, I'm going to buy the expansion because I do want more of this. I just don't need it in one package. So go buy this game. I'm going to tell you a lot of games, and I think most of the games I'm going to talk to you about, I'm just going to say, go and buy the games. But yeah, go for it. So guys, this has been Board Game Haver with the right group. And until next time, thanks guys.